This is the evening news for Monday, October 7, 2013. I am Leanna Bradshaw. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Bromell sworn in as top cop says SWAT unit is no black clothes police. Westward opposes appointment of any new parliamentary council. Jagdeo says new national conversation needed on the way forward. Guyana Times pressman dies in accident. And Katharina Roshana crowned Miss Guyana Universe. Now for the news in detail. Newly appointed Commissioner of Police Leroy Bromell today made it clear that the soon-to-be-established Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT unit will not be another black clothes squad, as he promised to rid the streets of all criminals. Details from Svetlana Marshall.
Shortly after being sworn in by President Donald Ramotar, the Commissioner of Police Leroy Bromell disclosed that the recruitment process for the formation of the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT unit has begun. The top cop noted that special ranks of the Guyana Police Force are being screened. Bromell made it clear that the unit will not be another black clothes squad. With his official appointment as Commissioner of Police, Bromell said major emphasis will be placed on modernizing the force and reducing the prevalence of crime in the country.
Today, I recommit to the citizens living within our borders that I, Leroy Bromell, will do all within my power in consultation with key stakeholders to serve and protect and to take back our streets and communities from the criminals.
On a lighter note, an emotional Bromell said he had always aspired to be the Commissioner of Police ever since he took the oath approximately 36 years ago. In his quest to raise the standards of the Guyana Police Force and offer greater security, he advocated for continued support from his family, members of the force, and all other stakeholders. Meanwhile, President Donald Ramotar said it was always his intention to confirm Bromell as the Commissioner of Police after Henry Green had demitted office in 2012.
My resolve to confirm Mr. Bromell was frustrated by delays in hosting the meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition. That engagement eventually took place on Thursday, October 3rd, at which time the opposition leader gave his no objection.
He said, too, that this period has seen the unfolding of the most comprehensive security sector reforms in the country, noting that he remains impressed with the force's commitment towards fighting crime and violence in the country. Additionally, collaboration with regional and bilateral stakeholders has grown apace under the oversight of the Central Intelligence Committee and the Guyana Defense Force.
Guyanese law enforcement officials have contacted their counterparts in Venezuela as investigations deepen into the shooting to death of 2 men in the South American country last week. Bishop Mohammed reports.
As investigations continue into the murder of Orlando Fitzpatrick, 52, and his son, 17-year-old Jesse Fitzpatrick, Crime Chief Silar Prasad today said that the only information the police have so far was what was reported by the relatives of the deceased. He stated, however, the lawmen are working to solve the crime.
We requested information from the Venezuelan authorities via Interpol. Haven't gotten any feedback as yet.
Your ranks would have been in the area. What are they feeding back to you?
What area?
Into that area where the incident occurred?
No.
Your ranks were not?
No, it didn't that occur in Guyana according to our information. And we won't go into another country's territory and do anything.
Prasad also stated that he does not have any information regarding the accusation made against the 2 men. On the other hand, wife of the dead man explained her suspicions.
To me, it's a plan. Because why me husband and son die alone and these 2 alive? Phone ringing. Because if they went in Venezuela water, the phone can't ring.
The aggrieved woman further explained her last contact with her husband and when she was made aware of their demise.
When they come out of their mines, he called me. When they left from their destination, the last thing he told me was that he coming home. And I must expect he 12 o'clock the night, because the call was after 6 in the evening. I get a call from Venezuela now that they hear that my husband and son get shot. So he has sister living somewhere part in Venezuela. So they said somebody tell them that they both carrying up the people them back to Venezuela, right? So they decide for wait.
The Lot 133rd Street, Grove, East Bank Demerara residents were reportedly murdered at a location in Venezuela. The bodies of the teenager and his father are still with Venezuelan authorities, but relatives are completing all necessary legal paperwork to have them returned to Guyana. Vishal Mohammed, The Evening News.
PPPC General Secretary Clement Rohi says that the party is extremely confident about winning the next general and regional elections, brushing aside comments made by a leading opposition party parliamentarian that it was his party's last term in office. Asked to respond to the comment made by Joseph Harman, Rohi appeared momentarily stunned but later recomposed himself. Let's take a look at Rohi's reaction to this question a little earlier today.
The silence connotes my views.
Last Sunday, the PPPC celebrated 21 years in government, and the party has promised to continue leading the people with the people's interest at the forefront. Meanwhile, the PPPC says that it will be moving to establish an oversight body to govern media houses and their operations to do away with gutter journalism in Guyana. Whitney Persaud tells us more.
The People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC General Secretary Clement Rohi today said that the party has recognized the blackout of news and information shared by the ruling party and government by opposition-oriented media houses. This is even while some of the same media houses in particular attend every party press conference and receives press statement hosted and prepared by the party.
The party has observed that in the case of Starbuck News, while it religiously attends PPP press conferences and receives PPP press statements, nothing is carried in its columns. On the contrary, practically everything said by the opposition politicians and things critical and or uncomplimentary of the government and party is given prominence by these print and electronic media houses. In the case of Kaieteur News, the Guyanese people are fed a daily dose of misinformation and outright fabrications. It must be noted that the media scene has changed dramatically, and the PPP and the government is proud of its record of upholding press freedom and the right of freedom of speech.
The party said that it will continue with its democratic rights and progress with promoting press freedom. Rohi said it is the fervent belief of the PPP that there should be the implementation of a special body to represent media houses and to guard against public malpractices in the media. The General Secretary argued that at present there is no association that media houses give account to. He said that the PPP will be meeting with the executive and exploring all avenues to have this new body. When established, the new body will not infringe on freedom of the people's information and freedom of the press, but will become a gatekeeper in the process. For the Evening News, Whitney Persaud.
To stay tuned, more news is next. Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Former President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo said a new national conversation is needed in Guyana to tackle some of the issues being faced. Sabatini Daniels has the details.
In an exclusive interview with this newscast, Jagdeo stated that the new national conversation should be centered on progress and future of the country. He said the national conversation should be different from the bitter tone that takes place in Parliament and that is reported by some national newspapers. Meanwhile, he also stated that Guyana needs to nurture an environment that generates more entrepreneurs since they are the job creators in society.
Because we need to generate a lot of jobs for our young people so that they can have a future right here in Guyana. I lamented the fact that whilst we have this wonderful exposition, which showcases, highlights our talents and entrepreneurship, the environment at the national level for the growth of entrepreneurship is being eroded largely because of what happens in Parliament.
He said the opposition seems bent on destroying any initiative that should create a better environment for entrepreneurs and for the people of the country.
I thought they would use the opportunity they have to cooperate with the government. You can still fight the politics, but on other issues rather than stymieing an environment or the creation of an environment that's good for everyone and for all Guyanese.
Jagdeo also made reference to the opposition voting down the Cheddi Jagan International Airport expansion project and the specialty hospital, which he recognized were important for the country's further development. Sabatini Daniels reporting for the Evening News.
President Donald Ramotar says that the PPPC is celebrating one of the most important victories of the Guyanese people during its 21st anniversary celebration. Whitney Prasad reports.
Hundreds of People's Progressive Party civic supporters on Sunday flocked to Luzignan Market Tarmac, East Coast Demerara, to be a part of a rally to celebrate the party's 21st anniversary in government. Addressing the gathering, President Donald Ramotar said the party struggled for a long time with oppressions of all kinds, and even after becoming an independent nation, another struggle for freedom against dictatorship loomed. The head of state said that Guyana only had freedom in the last 21 years, despite the fact that the country had 47 years of independence.
We fought for democracy in Guyana. We fought for democracy because we believe that we cannot have sustained economic and social progress unless we have freedom. And freedom, as I mentioned last night, is something we can't put a price on.
Former President Bar Jagdeo said the country has been significantly transformed under the PPPC government, pointing to commendable strides in the education, health, public and economic sectors. He described the People's National Congress PNCR tenure in government as woeful and said Guyana must not return to those dark days.
People like Greenidge, hopeless on. This guy was the worst finance minister ever in the history of the country. If they have an award for the worst finance minister in the world, he will win it by far. And then you have a Gaskin whose only success was to run a bicycle shop. And Christopher Ram, who helped to write the PNC manifesto, who tried to dissuade people from investing in the Berbice Bridge. They are the analysts, and they've spread a campaign of lies.
He called on the present generation to learn the country's past and history so that they can better understand the struggles of the current government for the development of Guyana. Prime Minister Samuel Hines, who also addressed the gathering, said the party is proud to remain attuned to the needs of the people as it celebrates another year in government. Hines said Guyanese must not be oblivious of the developments in the country, even as the opposition tries to paint a different picture. Additionally, the PPPC General Secretary and Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi said the party was persecuted in oppression, but remained united as he paid tribute to the victims of struggles for a better Guyana. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
Thanks, Sabatini. A pressman attached to the Guyana Times was on Sunday evening killed after the motorcycle which he was riding collided with a car on Agricola East Bank Demerara Road. Bishop Mohammed has the details.
23-year-old Stefan Charles Bascom of Lot 6 West Rumvelt Housing Scheme, Georgetown, succumbed to his injuries at the Georgetown Public Hospital at about 21 hours 30 on Sunday evening. Bascom was due to work on the fateful night, but reportedly switched night off with another colleague, claiming that he wanted to spend some time with his family. He was reportedly on his way to a Chinese restaurant to purchase food in Agricola when the accident occurred. The man's father explained what he heard and when last he saw his eldest child.
The driver said he was coming out of Agricola and he didn't see anything coming. So he just pulled over and turned to come to town. And the bike, he feel the impact when he looked and he saw a bike on the ground. Right? And by the time he get out to wedding assistants. He said the people around there just pick him up and take him to the hospital. I saw Stefan last night before he leave to go.
Did he tell you where he was going or so?
No, he just pick up his bike and say he gonna get food or something because he feeling a bit late hungry. And he took $200 for me and he leave, and since then I never saw him back.
A friend and colleague of the young man related what he heard about the accident and when he was made aware.
Last night about 15 minutes after 8, we supposed to go and buy food at the Agricola. And while he left, I was eating a food, so I left his feet up on his own. So while he leave and so on with the helmet and everything, about 15 minutes after I see him come back and so on, so I do decide for going to work. So this morning, father come and ask me, you see you? So I tell him work last night and everything. I say, man, check at Wrongwell station and see if he get locked up or whatever. So when he come back and tell me the sad news, well, he died and so on. So we just went and identify well as he, of course.
The Evening News understands that the driver of the motor car was taken into police custody and is assisting with investigations. Both the car and the motorcycle are lodged at the West Romfeld police station. A post-mortem examination is scheduled for Wednesday. Bascom is survived by his parents and 5 siblings. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Thank you, Bisham. And The Evening News expresses condolences to the Bascom family. There will be a significant boost in the education system in the Pomeroon district now that a spanking new state-of-the-art primary school along with a cell and walkway were commissioned at Karawab. The school and walkway were built by the Region 2 administration in collaboration with the Ministry of Education at a cost of $25.6 million after the contract was awarded to Manbordram Sukai of Walton Hall. Region 2 Chairman Parmanand Prasad said that the erection of the school in the hinterland area is a testimony of the Government of Guyana's commitment in delivering quality education in a conducive environment. The Ghana-Trinidad Mutual Group of Companies opened a new agency last Friday in Montrose, East Coast, Demerara. More in this report.
Last Friday, the Guyana and Trinidad Mutual Group of Companies formally opened Samlal's agency, which is situated on the public road in Montrose. Speaking at the opening, Director Mr. Peter Fraser said that the company is conscious of the fact that many people reside outside of Georgetown and commuting to and from the city is time-consuming because of the increase of motor vehicles on the road. He further stated that the establishment of Samlal's agency on the outskirts of the city is another way in which GTM can spread their wings and bring their services closer to those residents on the east coast of Demerara. The agency's manager, Mohan Samlal, began his speech with an anecdote which spoke of a woman's life without insurance after her husband died and said that he put great thought into his decision before choosing GTM.
I think GTM is one of the most robust insurance companies in Guyana. GTM is sound, solid, and reliable. It's a leader of insurance in our country, as Dr. Fraser said. And I don't want, at this age, to be selling twice. I don't want to sell for a company. People say, you hear about the company? I don't want that. So in my research, I found 3.5 out of 5 persons, they know about GTM, and they want to be part of GTM, if they are not already with GTM. I've also discovered that GTM is modernizing its operation and is very concerned about ambience and looks and in keeping with the international standard. And I said, you know what, this is a company.
Mr. Samlal said that the agency is fully aware of their legal responsibilities and the fact that they are now associated with an insurance giant in the country. He added that it is the agency's goal to replicate the same service customers can receive at the head office. Since the establishment of the company, it has 19 offices in 4 countries across the Caribbean, 13 in Guyana, this one being the 14th, making it a total of 20 offices.
Katharina Roshano was crowned Miss Guyana Universe 2013 last evening after several rounds of competition at the Pegasus Hotel. More from Sabatini Daniels.
This year's winner, which is unanimous by the judges, and who will represent Guyana in Moscow for 2013 Miss Universe, is Katrina Roshano.
The Queen was sponsored by Lyle McCall and was a crowd favorite from the beginning. Roshana says that she is delighted to be representing Guyana at the upcoming pageant.
I can't believe this is actually happening. I can't wait to go to Moscow. So many things are running through my mind and I just have to work towards everything that I set out.
Roshana said she will set out to work with children living with disabilities who suffer from autism in an effort to raise awareness about this illness. She will represent Guyana at this year's Miss Universe pageant in Moscow on November 9. Roshana is also the Miss Guyana India Worldwide. First runner-up in the pageant was Miss Alicia Best, while the second runner-up was announced as Miss Ayana Whitehead. Here's a glimpse of Roshana's participation in the pageant. Sabatini Daniels reporting for the Evening News.
Thank you, Sabatini. More news still ahead. Stay with us. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Lifeline Counseling Services will be holding its annual walkathon to help raise awareness for persons living with HIV. Here is more.
On August 27th, Lifeline Counseling Services will be hosting its annual walkathon, which will commence in front of the Bank of Guyana at 6 hours. The purpose of the walk is to raise awareness for those persons living with and affected by HIV and AIDS. This year's walk will be held under the theme Getting to Zero. The organization is a non-governmental agency whose mission is to reduce the psychological impact of HIV and AIDS on persons living with or affected by the disease. Since their establishment, their services have always been free and confidential. The walkathon celebrates the life of Philip van der Heijden, who is often referred to as the face of HIV and AIDS in Guyana because of his courage to work to restoring dignity to the persons affected by the disease. He is also one of the 3 founders for Lifeline Counseling Services. During an interview with the executive director of Lifeline, Ms. Gloria Joseph, she said that the organization has been in existence for 17 years and has been offering house-based care for the families and victims affected by the disease.
HIV is not just certain people, it's everybody. If you want to know somebody who's positive, we would say just look in the mirror. It can be anybody. Sometimes it may not be at your door now, but it can be at your door later if you're not aware and trying to protect yourself.
She added that the Guyana Revenue Authority is one of the biggest supporters of the walkathon and encourages persons to come out and support the cause.
Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy today disclosed that the first shipment of 5,000 tons of fertilizer arrived from Venezuela this morning and is presently at the Friendship Wharf, East Bank, Demerara. This move will significantly boost the agricultural sector as it will address the cost of production for agricultural products. Farmers have over the years been faced with the challenge of high prices for fertilizers, a constraint which affected not only their trade but the high price of agricultural commodities. Much has been done thus far through the Ministry of Agriculture to remedy the situation, and in September, a revised agreement was inked between the governments of Guyana and Venezuela for Guyana to source fertilizer from the Spanish-speaking country at an affordable rate. This agreement paves the way for Guyana to receive 5,000 tons of fertilizers in two phases. The second is expected to arrive in March 2014. Public Service Minister Jennifer Webster says no consideration will be given to the opposition's clamoring for appointment of a parliamentary council. Whitney Bursaw tells us more.
Public Service Minister Jennifer Westford says that if there is a need for an increase in staff to work along with the Parliament body, this can be done, but she maintained that there will be no effort to change the operations of the current parliamentary structure. During the People's Progressive Party civic press conference today, the minister said that there is a chief parliamentary officer and a deputy officer attached to the Attorney General chambers. Westford said there isn't a need for a holder of any new position.
I am prepared to consider increasing the staff of that department, but I cannot see the Ministry of the Public Service creating a new structure within the Parliament office.
Most recently, there have been calls by the opposition parties to have a new legal counsel working along with the Parliament chambers. The opposition parties have signalled their non-support for the sending of bills and legal documents to the Attorney General chambers for fine-tuning in the future, given the sloth associated with the process. Both the Clerk of the National Assembly and the Attorney General have defended the process, explaining that it must be followed by law. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
Thank you, Whitney. Do stay tuned. Your sport news is next. Welcome back, and now for a look at your evening sport news. In the headlines, GFF Banks Beer Cup opens in Linden. 9 schools win in Courts Pee Wee football. Mumbai Indians crowned Champions League winners. And now for the details. IPL champions Mumbai Indians crowned a remarkable year by lifting the Champions League T20 title with a high-scoring 33-run win over the Rajasthan Royals on Sunday. Dwayne Smith's 44 and useful contributions from Rohit Sharma and Glenn Maxwell propelled Mumbai to 202 for 6. For the most part of the run chase, Rajasthan Royals were in the hunt, with Sanju Samson and Ajinkya Rahane scoring half-centuries. However, Harbhajan Singh claimed 3 wickets in 1 over on his way to figures of 4 for 32 as Rajasthan fell for 169. The Ghana Football Federation's Banks Beer Super League kicked off last evening with a double-header in Linden. Details from Avinash Ramzan.
In the opening 2 games at the Mackenzie Sports Club ground in Linden on Sunday evening, the Ghana Defence Force and Rhythm Squad notched up 2-0 victories to start their campaign on a successful note. The teams to lose out were Silver Shatters and Mile Rock, both of Linden. In the opening game, Rhythm Squad were indebted to goals from Skeon Hope and Tion Jones. Hope netted his goal in the 66th minute, while Jones was on target 4 minutes later. The feature game went in favour of the Army men, with Sherwin Caesar and Delwyn Fraser getting on the score sheets. Caesar opened the scoring in the 77th minute before Fraser doubled the score in the 90th minute. The 16 teams in the competition are battling for close to $7 million in cash and trophies, while there are several individual awards up for grabs. The champion team will receive $3 million, runners-up $2 million, third place $1 million, and fourth place $500,000. Also, there will be a daily gate prize of $25,000 for a lucky fan, along with other special prizes. The competing teams are Ghana Defence Force, Rhythm Squad, Alpha United, Santos, BK International Western Tigers, Mile Rock Winners Connection, Silver Shatters, Buxton United, BV Triumph United, Mahika Determinators, Rosignol United, New Amsterdam United, Den Amstel Young Achievers, and Grove High Tech.
Witnessed by another large turnout of teachers, parents, and enthusiastic young students and footballers, the Courts Pee Wee Under-11 football competition continued on Saturday at the Banks DH Ground, Thirst Park, with 9 schools ending the day in the winner's row. More from Avinash Ramzan.
All 24 schools were in action on day 2 of the competition, which has attracted the leading young school footballers in the Georgetown-based primary institutions. It was not a goal spree by any stretch of imagination, as only 22 goals were scored as the goalkeepers had a good day between the uprights. In the opening game, Tion Ford provided the winner in the 24th minute as St. Gabriel's needles Telemaris Primary 1-0. Game 2, which produced the most goals for a single match on the day, saw Effie Pollard edging St. Angela's 3-2. East Penitent secured the most comprehensive victory of the day, breezing past Redeemer Primary 3-0 on the back of goals from Leroy Yaw, Gabriel Butters and Andre Hope, while St. Sidwell's beat Winford Garden 1-0 with a strike from Miguel Stall in the 23rd minute. St. Pius got a similar result against last year's runner-up Tuckville Primary, with Bethany Mark finding the back of the nets in the 7th minute. A German Padmore double accounted for St. Ambrose goals in their 2-1 victory over Green Acres, whose consolation strike came off the boot of Roll Williams in the 27th minute, while West Bryanfeld got the better of St. Stephen's Primary 3-1. In the other games, Kathleen Success played to a 0-0 draw. Defending champions Marion Academy gained a walkover from Sophia. J.E. Burnham and South Rhineveld failed to score in their drawn encounter. North Georgetown captured full points without breaking a sweat after Westfield failed to turn up, and Redeemer Primary gained a walkover from Sophia. St. Margaret's and Enterprise played to a 2-2 stalemate, with Diego Britton and David Scott scoring for St. Margaret's and Rashid Evans netting a double for Enterprise. The competition will continue on Saturday at Thirst Park Ground, with another dozen games starting at 10 hours.
Scores Even of the Simply Royal stable was in a category all by itself when it whipped a top-class field to score a big win and take top honors in the Feature A and lower class event on Sunday. The race formed part of the People's Progressive Party Civics Grand Horse Race meet at the Rising Sun Turf Club, Arima Park, West Coast, Berbice. The feature event saw 9 animals leaving the gate in an even break, but as the race proceeded around the first turn, Grande Roja of the Jumbo Jet stables surged ahead before Scores Even picked its stride in the bunch afterwards. With jockey Richmond on mount, he decided to let Scores Even go, giving it full rein as it set a searing pace down the backstretch. By then, the field was wide open in the 1 mile race. The win was worth $1.5 million and the President's Cup. Do stay tuned. Your Bridge Reports are next. This is the evening news. Welcome back, and now for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbor Bridge will be closed on Tuesday, October 8 at 5 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. The Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Tuesday, October 8 at 18 hours 10 for a period of 1.5 hours. And that's your Monday, October 7, 2013 edition of the Evening News. I am Leanna Bradshaw. Thanks for joining us.